Today we're going to talk about questions with what in the simple past. We'll talk about questions with main verbs, with action verbs, and with be verbs, and we'll talk about how to tell if what is the subject or object of the question and why that's really important for your grammar. So let's look at our examples. Our first question is, what did Kelly eat? This is really similar to our yes or no questions, where we would just ask, did Kelly eat? Yes, he did, or no, he didn't. We use what to ask about a thing. Just like we use who to ask about a person, we use what to ask about a thing. So we're asking about the thing that Kelly ate. So let's look at the structure of that question. We use our WH word, what, helping verb did, subject, and main verb eat. What did Kelly eat? He ate an apple. So this is the most common structure for our what questions in the simple past. What did subject verb. You'll notice, even though this is simple past, we use the base form of the main verb. We say eat, not ate, because we are using did to show that it is past tense. Now I want to look and see if what is the subject or the object of this question. Because what, it takes the place of the thing that we are asking about. So there are a couple of ways you can figure this out. The first way is just to look at the question and find the verb, eat. What is the subject of that verb? Who is eating? Kelly is the subject. So if Kelly is the subject, then what is the object? Okay? The second way you can figure it out is to look at the answer to the question. He ate an apple. Now remember, what takes the place of the answer, the thing, the apple. So in this sentence we have he ate an apple. We have our verb ate, our subject he, which means Kelly, and our object an apple. So because this is the object and what takes its place, we know that what is the object in this question. Now just wait another minute until we get to our last example, and I'll show you why it's so important to know if it is subject or object for this question word. Our next example shows a question with a be verb. What was her name? Excuse me. What was her name? We have what, be verb, and her name. What was her name? Kara was her name. Okay, so this is very similar to our yes/no question. We could ask, was her name Kara? Yes, it was, or no, it wasn't. All we have to do to make a what question, to ask about that thing, is to add what at the beginning of the question. What was her name? Her name was Kara, or Kara was her name. Same meaning with those be verb sentences. All right, let's look at our last question. What changed your mind? Now this question looks a little bit different. We don't have did in this question, even though it's a simple past question. And this is why we have to figure out if the what is the subject or object of the question. So let's figure it out for this one, and then I'll explain the grammar a little bit. So we'll look for the verb, change. Okay, change. And what was changed? Something changed your mind. Okay, so change is the verb. We know your mind is the object. But what is the subject for this verb? Well, we don't have an obvious subject, so we can figure out that what is actually the subject here. So let's check with our other way to figure out subject and object by looking at the answer to the question. Our question was, what changed your mind? The news changed my mind. So we have our verb, changed. The subject of this verb is the news. The news changed my mind. And remember, what takes the place of this answer, the news. So we know that what is the subject of the question. So you might be figuring it out now that if what is the subject, the grammar of the question is a little bit different from what as the object. You can see with what as the subject, we use what did, subject verb. But when what is the subject, we have what changed your mind with a simple past verb with no did. Now, what as the subject is not very common. You will not see it too often. It's much more common for what to be the object of the question. But it does happen sometimes. And we cannot say, what did change your mind? No. What did changed your mind? No. We cannot use did in this case. What changed your mind? And what did Kelly eat? They have different grammar depending on if what is the subject or the object of the question.